So the first poet tonight is Michael Lynch. So Michael, are you you're with Irina again? Yes, I'll just grab that and add you in. That's great. Two for the price of one. This is really excellent. Michael Leach is an academic and writer who's joining us tonight from our country. Michael's poems have been published in various outlets and recognised in several competitions, including his joint winning poetry entry in last year's Minds Shine Bright Confidence writing competition. I would also like to say we were thrilled to have Michael in our very first anthology of lockdown poetry, which came out in 2021. Michael's first collection, Natural Philosophies, was published by Recent Work Press in 2022. Thanks, Michael. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Rose, and thank you both Rose and Pauline for the chance to read tonight. So tonight I'm going to read a couple of poems from that book, Natural Philosophies, that Rose mentioned. And the first one I'm going to read tonight is an ekphrastic poem responding to a visual image created by May Mu. Rose, should I be able to share my screen as well? I'll just try, but no worries. If not, can you see that okay?
Yep, all good, Michael. Go ahead.
Thanks, Rose. And so this one first appeared online in visual verse, and the wonderful Irina Frolova will be reading this one with me. It's called Unreal.
Sometimes I can't believe the world around us is real.
That impossibly blue sky is a perfectly made, gaseous space, so spacious, so coloured, so multi-layered.
So what?
So not possible without unnatural philosophy.
All these fluffy, free, warm, floating clouds
must be held up by something, some invisible law, metaphorical chord.
Call it magic, or theologic, or physics.
Or a mix of the above.
No matter what, it's wonderful.
We watch geese flying in a V through sky, blue, cloudy sky.
How can that be?
You tell us, but
why do so few question the depth of our perception?
We are taught how, then left, wondering why. And now I'll read a shorter poem called Constellations. And this one first appeared in Black Bow Poetry. Constellation of uniquely space, silvery stars burn hydrogen through eon to illuminate the depths of space and time, even though each light is finite. Behold the most marvelous self-sacrifice in the universe. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Irina. I know how fascinating Michael's poems always look on the page, and actually I'm getting some of that, I think Angela called it call and response, but you know, I'm certainly getting that feeling with the two of you reading, so thank you so much. Our next reader tonight is Rose Van Son, and I'll just find her on the list, grab her, throw her in the spotlight and tell you a little bit about her. Her latest poetry collections are Cloak of Letters and Nature's Warehouse. Rose has won prizes in poetry, including for haiku and creative non-fiction, and she's been published in literary journals. In 2015, she was guest poet at the Perth Poetry Festival, the New Norcia Writers Festival 2018, and the York Festival 2021. In March, she judged the 2023 Tom Collins Poetry Prize, and we know what a big job judging poetry prizes is. Rose loves history, nature, and language, its sounds and its possibilities. She writes with her ears. Great phrase. Her journal has become a resource she can't live without. She delves into the past to find the future. Rose has also been one of Liquid Amber's proud poets in the spotlight. So over to you, Rose.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you. And it's such a pleasure to be here this evening. What a night it's been. So this poem I'm going to read is titled Witness Stand, and it was part of the Perth Festival a couple of years ago as an event. So this is the one. There's a couple of words in it in the Noongar language on where we're standing here in Wajak Noongar country. The Derbil Yerrigan is the Swan River here in Perth, and Marley means black swan. Witness Stand, Fish Market Reserve. 1. On the banks of the Derbil Yerrigan, I sit on bleachers. 7:30 time slot, rain stopped for the morning. River gleams, a gentle push. A man in a canoe slows his paddling, mouths, what is going on here? River, usually his at this time. Trees tremble, birdsong. Cormorants in trio fly past, riverside. Close your eyes, listen, can you hear? Rainbow serpent, elders' stories repeat. Conversation storms, winter's flow. Spirit ears, long for late afternoon. Witness stand. Women sing, hum an aria, adagio, legato. Private time, open-mouthed, cantata, a song. I open, close my eyes, river narrow here, dream, a recurring dream, a recurring dream. Someday I will cross the great river, I will call Marley home. A great egret shows off her snowy neck. Red-tailed black cockatoos shriek welcome. Women's chorus repeats a slow dance. Drums, triple time, another chord. Cadence absorbs, waters flow. 40 cormorants, majestic black, skim river surface. Sunlit crown, wingspan draws my breath as they return. Sweep the river, sacred symphony. Ringnecks follow cormorant's lead. Rain clears, great egret poised to strike. 2. Upstream, an old bridge dips into water. The jetty I once clung to, restored. Gloom in young eyes, replaced. Concerto, a wandering symphony. A harp, temperate flow. Water loops around the past. A canoeist stops. Fermata in an old language. Questions my intentions. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rose. What beautiful, visual, evocative poetry. Really enjoyed that. Our next reader tonight is Dee Allen. Dee, let me just find you. Here you are. Okay, hi Dee, great to have you. Dee is an African-Italian performance poet based in Oakland, California. And I reckon it might be some weird hour of the night.
It is.
Yeah, so, you know, great, fantastic.
It's 4:17 a.m. Pacific time here in the
Ouch.
USA.
Ouch. Well, we appreciate you being here. Dee is the author of 7 books and has had 68 anthology appearances. So we're pretty honoured to have you here tonight, Dee. Over to you.
from my sixth book, Rusty Gallows, Passages Against Hate. From pages 77 and 78 in the book, this is called Out Front. I am grateful for the arched roof above my head, the twin rafters with the twin lights holding it in place, the faux walls surrounding me, the two windows with the two Venetian blinds down and shut at all times, the red brick flow below my feet, the wooden shelves full of books and movies, the VHS by themselves and DVDs in clear totes, the Keatsa mattress I sleep on, the melatonin that helps me sleep, the vegan food in my fridge, a meat-free zone, the fruit and vegetable juices I savor, the filtered water I drink moat and tap, the hardcover journal notebooks and the roller point pens I use to express myself, the shower I use, even though I'm a bathtub man, the Hewlett-Packard laptop computer aiding creation of the Once and Future poetry volumes, the Samsung TV and VCR DVD player combo, the little house in East Oakland, California, USA, I call home, the vast collection of political slogan t-shirts. I wear the convictions of my heart on my chest. Sometimes antisocial, always anti-racist remains a personal favorite, but being Black is not a crime, gets me the most love on the street. But most of all, I am grateful for the bus drivers, the firefighters, the restaurant delivery drivers, the subway train conductors, the laundrette clerks, the grocery store workers, the farmers market workers, which I happen to be one, the doctors, the nurses, the paramedics, the pharmacy workers, the protesters for the rights of all Black lives, the dead and the living, the mutual aid collectives giving food, water, medicine, and household items to the people living hand to mouth during this goddamn pandemic and long before. All the heroes out front in our service, seeing to our immediate survival needs, they could use the praise. And you don't need superpowers to be a hero. Just be there out front for us. And that poem was called Out Front for Jennifer A. Minotti, the editor of the online literary magazine, the Journal of Expressive Writing. Out Front is one of two attempts in the book at expressive writing, also known as free writing. And Out Front appears in my sixth book, Rusty Gallows, Passages Against Hate, now available from Vagabond Books. From this mic to your ears, I'm D. Allen. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Dee. Hey, and if you want to, you or anybody want to pop in the chat, a link to where to get your books, that would be a great thing to do at this stage. Okay, our next poet tonight is Cathy Altmann. Just find you, Cathy, and there you are. Add you in. Here you go. Cathy Altmann is a poet, teacher, and violinist who lives in Burwood on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Her first collection, Circumnavigation, came out with Poetica Christie Press in 2014 and won the Anne Elder Award. Her second collection, Things We Know Without Naming, was published in 2018. Her poems have appeared in journals, anthologies, and on trains, which is always a great place to have them. She holds a master's in creative writing on poetry and cancer and teaches English and Latin. Cathy is delighted to have, I'm glad she is because we are, to have her third collection, The Language of Trees, forthcoming with Liquid Amber Press in 2024. Thank you, Cathy.
Thanks so much, Rose. The Surgeon. When Donne spoke of newfound lands, before, behind, between, above, below, did he foresee this biro, tracing the map of my breast, circumnavigating the nipple? The anaesthetist holds my hand in a proposal, but I am the surgeon's mistress. My gown is undone. My body is his empire, his mine of precious stones. I license his roving hands to labour over me. To enter these bonds is to be free. And from my second book, Umber. We drink cups of tea and fold washing, all those neighbourly things. The compost rots in the chicken coop, scraps of peel, eggs and burnt toast. Meal times are hours away. And this cup of tea, the chance to ask what I always was afraid to. As she pours, the steam rises. The past is a soft pillowcase. We move around its squares. The incinerator squatted on its cement block. Some things are umber, solid, transverse. Those dinners on the linoleum. The children run in, the dog barks. At the door, she is my sister again. Her hair grazed lightly, the halo of yesterday's light just lifting from her face. And lastly, thank you. And lastly, the web from my forthcoming book with Liquid Amber. Drawn outside, I find single strands of spider web in the olive tree. They flash an erratic semaphore in the morning sun. Each spans a gap from leaf to stem. None makes the expected web. Are they first drafts, flimsy lines left in the branches, the night's work? I cannot read them. Yet each morning they adorn the tree, flicker between light and invisibility. My daughter joins me, and as my words create a string clogged with grit, she brushes the tree. Too late, the threads unmoored stream toward me, silver filaments illuminating what I have failed to see. Thank you.
Wonderful, Cathy. Thank you. So beautiful, and yet the sharp blade of the scalpel through them as well. So thank you so much. Our next reader is Nicki Cassimatis. Nicki, let me find you on the list. There you are. Yes, that helps to unmute. Fantastic. Nicki is an educator and poetry for well-being practitioner based in Brisbane. Poetry became her accidental mentor and healer some 10 years ago to recover from clinical depression and anxiety. And she has since presented at national and international poetry conferences. And I happen to know she's been on a poetry pilgrimage because we have one of her wonderful poems gracing our refrigerator and inspiring us. So over to you, Nicki.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Tonight I thought what I'd do is share a couple of poems that were written on the pilgrimage. And they haven't really got, well, they sort of got titles, but I'm just going to call them Day 11 and Day 44. Day 11 was in Edinburgh, was one of the first stops on my pilgrimage, and Day 44 is situated in London just before heading home. So I'll just bring it up on my screen. Okay, Day 11, Part A, Door Ajar on Manor Place. Today I met a woman whose story touched me. This place, a refuge of comfort, her son, her two dogs, Dylan and Winston, quietly by her side. We talked poetry and music and healing and mindfulness and postcards and connection. This was not a chance encounter. We spoke for eons while the day was young. We exchanged an air hug as we parted, mutually nourished by this unexpected connection. I had not planned to digress on my way to the Writers' Museum. The door ajar beckoned me in, an invitation much like a certain wardrobe door of the past. No chance encounter. The prayer petals on the tree, on my bag, our witness. Part B, the power of a blank page. Postcards flying out, train track art across this land. Mind the gap, gardens, enter through that door, poetry on a plate. Hearts transplanted here from the place I call home. Unexpected joy, encounters of the healing kind here at the Palmerston. I may have missed the croissant breakfast rush, but with Toowoomba and Bris Vegas and Sydney ringing in my ears, do I sound worried? Am I really that far from home? And this one for day 44, I'll only preface it to say that the very last line, Kaliandamosi, is a Greek expression that's exchanged between people who are going to be reunited. And it literally means a good reuniting or a good meeting up. Day 44, authentic cuisine. The real Greek. Who is the real Greek? Is it the one who speaks the language? If you really want to, a classroom can do that for you. Is it the one who knows a Greek dance or two and how to party? If you really want to, a panegyri or two can do that for you. Is it the one whose taste buds have been refined by a generation or two of dolmades or moussaka or melidzana? Ask any gourmand, they'll tell you their taste buds speak most likely the same language. Seems to me the real Greek is the one who, having travelled like Ulysses across earth and ocean, hovered through time and space, landed in battlefields and playgrounds, has planted there with solemn awe and humble joy the seeds of home. Anyone care to join me for some mezeres and a dance? I dare say it'll be quite the party. Kali andamosi. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicki. Fantastic. Boy, we've had coffee with Diane and now Greek sweets and food with Nicki, so I think we're doing pretty well. Our last reader for this evening, at last but not least, is the wonderful Simone King. Let me just find you, Simone. Are you there? Have you oh yes, you have. You've unmuted. Well done. Okay, lovely to see you. Simone is a poet living on Wurundjeri country, and her wonderful words have been published in Rabbit, Cordite and Plumwood Mountain. Simone won the 2022 Blake Poetry Prize and the 2021 Warilla Poetry Prize. She co-edited What We Carry, Poetry on Childbearing from Recent Work Press in 2021. Thanks, Simone. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Rose. And thanks very much, Rose and Pauline, for having me and for a night of really wonderful poetry. It's been really beautiful. This poem's called On Carrying. It's dedicated to Meg. Starts with an epigraph from Ocean Vuong. The placenta is a kind of language, perhaps our first one, our true mother tongue. From On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Walking with my friend in the straw autumn grasslands of her country rental, watching a sunset working alchemy on the dam. New life is in us, my second with his coral sponges ready to breathe, her first a humble cell cumulus that will soon fill so much of her. She wants to know what it's like. Crickets rattle the cooling earth as I consider which story to share. She's scared, so I won't speak now of the looping fears I carried with my first child, how I couldn't trust my body's ability to nourish and birth. I can't use the word magical. In the same week, I've had to ice my swollen vulva with frozen pineapple, so I search for other words. We move close, feet shifting slow in cured grass as the moon rises on candlebarks, low and large and yolk yellow. I tell her I always feel accompanied. The beat of limbs within me in the waiting room, where people stare at iPhones expressionless over their face masks. And while walking Coburg Lake, below where prisoners laboured in the bluestone haunt, watching ibises on Bin Chicken Island scramble the peak hour raw. And I tell her that when I slump into the couch exhausted each night, having found no moments in my day to write, I remind myself my body is creating with its blood utterances, my placenta speaking the first language. Thank you. I might leave it at 1 tonight, just because, yeah, you probably all want to get on with your night, but thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Simone. A great note to finish on.